has been questioned.
He doesn't really have a good ability to max to actually do well in lane. His Q feels really bad to use. His W has become the most frequent max. You want to max E, just have that extra shielding, but then you just really, really get run over in lane, and Brand can be a lane bully. So you're going to have to make full value of some of the unique passives that when you take both champions as a duo, and this draft has delivered in multiple ways. We had a long pause, we had a lot of filling, but now we get unique pick after unique pick. First in Italy of LCK Summer, a pick we know will be there given how many people have been messing around with it. Galio once again from Kuzan is trying to push and leave lane, and perhaps assist Xayah and Rakan as the lovers will take to the rift on the bot lane.
Yep. Hopefully they don't get too distracted by one another. As you can see, I mean, if you've heard the voice lines, it gets pretty ridiculous, but there are so many change-ups, even a Brand there towards the bottom side, which we'll be excited to see. But let's not waste any more time. Let's get into game number 2 between ROX Tigers and JAG Greenwich. Pretty even on the fan call. I like the zoom in on the Xayah Rakan. In fact, Snowflower and Teddy choosing the skins as well, making things look cool. And look at this, the color coordination from the ROX Tigers. Already getting a lot of damage down to Teddy here.
There's something great about Sungyun and Snowflower facing off.
Come on, guys.
The old duo facing off, and there being the Xayah and Rakan on only one side. And to Jazz to see some of the things that are going on here. You can't really go for those recalls around a minute, given that if you leave lane, certain pressure points can be established as we get to see that unique passive between these two in full display, but not actually opted into by Snowflower.
Yep. Only a cute one. I think the one that to look out for here as far as the synergy is that W activation, giving Rakan in Snowflower's hands the ability to shoot off a bunch more damage.
Yeah, we'll talk about them as they come up, but like you say, Deadly Plumage, the extra attack speed and attack modifier whenever is used by Teddy. That's the W of the Xayah. If you're unfamiliar with the skill names, understandable. Some of them are a bit of a mystery. Then it gives it to Snowflower's auto attacks as well. And even though he's not 600 range to make the most value out of it, it is 300 range, so can certainly get some value there. Expecting to see Snowflower max the W, that's the grand entrance, or the knock-up with a dash, but would love to max E. They're doing well in lane. Usually you can rely on Xayah to win the push war, just because Q into the passive leads to a lot of pushing, but you also have to deal with the fact that Rakan is heavily outclassed when it comes to harass at level 1 compared to Brand, with both the range of his auto and the W, so they're showing a lot of respect, which you need to do.
Yeah, and in fact you have to show a lot of respect to Brand in almost any lane, so not necessarily having the best laning prowess on paper is bad news versus this particular bottom lane that, especially come level 6, will be so hard to deal with. Teddy will be hoping to have that
Someone's
Feather Storm
taken
available.
a lot of autos from this red buff. Doesn't have Smite.
Okay. This is tough. Okay, Eric gets it. Don't need to be as scared anymore, everyone.
When he took those extra 2 autos at the start, I was like, are you sure you can do this? But the answer was yes. So the Nidalee build has changed up. When I see what Kuz is doing as Kuzan,
yeah.
without the damage reduction, they actually could have died, such as the power of very early Cassiopeia. But while we have a moment, the new build here for the Nidalee is going back to this more utility build, with specifically rushing the Athene's Unholy Grail very early to get the greater amount of healing and regen the new Athene's passive applies, where you get more health regen, I believe it is, with your mana regen.
Yep.
So that's been the big change in build path, has been largely going the Athene's build that previously most people didn't mess around with. Graves is bot lane.
Yeah, already on D. Trying to get in here. Teddy setting himself up for that route if he can find it.
If Snowflower was level 3, he had so much mobility, but someone's going to face check.
Oh no, end of the line is just going to completely miss on the side of Umpty. They do still get a flash as key. Possibly in trouble, not a lot of mobility when you are that Graves. Sorry, that Brand. Snowflower avoids killing the rest of his teammates with that passive, as it's a decent little route there onto key.
A lot of mistakes there from Jin. If they waited just a moment longer for level 3, Snowflower could have had so much impact. You cover so much ground when you have the ability to dash in with the flash W and then just get out of a fight at 1100 range with that extra, extra range on the battle dance, the shielding exit, 1100 range out. And also just missing the Q there, so losing a lot of extra damage at the start. So executed better, and just with a couple of seconds extra waiting, I think that could have been a kill for Jin Air, but end up botching it. That means that ROX get away with only just a single flash on Sungyu.
A little bit of patience possibly necessary there, as now a big minion wave for the Tigers to eat up on the bottom side of the map, which will get a decent CS lead for Sungyun. Snowflower just pops himself over to the side for that gleaming quill that honestly doesn't do a heck of a lot of much.
Not a lot of love for you on the quill.
No,
I agree.
Not a fan of the old gleaming quill.
We're seeing WEQ, so that's the knock up into the shielding, into the, as you say, the lane harass ability last, which usually it's 3 points in the laning ability, then you go for shielding or knockups, but
we were having that conversation about the Castle just prior.
Yeah, the laning ability is kind of rubbish, so you just don't put any more than 1 point in it.
That Pillar of Flame looked like it missed. That he would be probably a bit frustrated at that one.
So I wonder if we will see Cuz's build, which, you know, got to rank 1, so some merit in it. It could be solo queue only, but his build we mentioned is the Athenes. It's Athenes Lichbane, so it's a very, very aggressive build. Looking to get in there and get some assassinations in melee range. Shy is feeling it.
Oh man, really wants to try and get this done. Does so, and should be able to chase down Ixu. No flash, remember. Is Shy's trying to get under the turret? No, it's not enough as Umti. He's going to turn up here in time. Lightning Rush will get Shy out of there as Umti says, well, I'm flashing on you. Good stun, end of the line. Going to get the damage back. One more auto. That's going to be it. That's going to be first blood. And Ixu so lucky to have his life, and Shy going the way of Linderong early on in this game.
You say that, but he was so close.
Oh, yeah, but that almost makes it worse.
I really loved the aggressive flash. He was feeling it. He had the max stacks of the Fervor, but it wasn't quite enough. And then the ultra punishment in Umti sauntering his way top lane as Songwon.
Yeah, Ixu just knew exactly what was going on there as Umti's going to turn up. A little smite just to make sure that that one does go in favor of the Nidalee. So I believe Ixu is actually trying to bait this one out. Shy is going to turn up, but he has level 6. Smoke screen goes down, they see the Graves, and they have to back away. But Ixu, he's going to have to do the same thing, and remember, doesn't have his teleport.
So the reason why they backed away there is that Kuzan was 6, and the heroic entrance would have been able to be channeled close enough there, and coming in would have changed the course of the fight.
Oh, Key actually a little bit late on that one as Battle Dance gets Snowflower forward. You can see the mobility options of Rakan are pretty silly.
Probably shouldn't recall in the same brush if you're Zion Rakan. Doesn't really take any value out of the passive. So much to touch on here, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
New Nidalee build, Zion Rakan with so many different interactions that if we list them all, it's just kind of a wall of text, so we're trying to measure them out to when they are more relevant to the trading patterns. Zion Rakan don't excel in lane. To be clear, even together, Rakan is a poor laner. He's slightly better with Zaya, but still pretty poor, so waiting for the team fighting and ability to use the quickening as ultimate to make some things happen. You'll notice that he's actually the only champion that right now people are building Ancient Coin on. And Ancient Coin has that really interesting quest where you get access to an extra skill point.
Yeah.
When you hit 650 gold and upgrade it once. Now, if you're wondering, if you haven't messed around with Ancient Coin, which is understandable, again, mostly it's going to be outclassed by things like the Spell Thieves. The interesting part of that interaction is you get an extra skill point, but you don't get an extra level, so you don't get the base stats. You just get an extra rank on an ability. So you're not getting an extra level, you're getting an extra skill point only.
Got it. I was actually always curious as to how that worked, Posty. I'm glad that you've let me know. I felt like it'd be busted as heck on Syndra or something like that.
I mean, you hear about it and you're like, an extra level, sweet, because of course you get so much free gold in the health and other stats you get with a level up, but not to be in this case. But getting more points into either W or E on the Rakan is kind of one of those situations where you're like, well, I took Rakan, I knew the lane would be hard, I need a payoff, and you exit lane around the same time that you complete the quest, and you're like, okay, finally, I'm getting the value out of what is a very weak laning support.
Yep, possibly getting those 6 points in the W. Snowflower gets himself out of the way, utilizing that grand entrance, which which was more of a grand exit.
A lot of abilities like that. I do love every time the heroic entrance is used, just to leave.
Yeah, I love the relentless pursuit in order to leave as well.
The unstoppable onslaught, probably the best of all of them.
Yeah.
The relentless pursuit is just a dash.
Yeah, but it's also supposed to be in pursuit of something.
He's in the pursuit of an exit.
Hey, that's true. Never really thought of it that way, Papa Smithy.
That's why they bring my eyes. That's why I'm here, Atlas. To keep you in check with the skill names.
Teddy throwing feathers everywhere. Not gonna be able to find any roots. Sungyu's just gonna happily clear out the minions on the bottom side, but you could see Teddy does have the BF sword built up. Wonder whether he's going to go for something like the Infinity Edge or whether we're going to see the Essence Reaver build with the extra cooldown reduction. Bit of late game power as well.
When we saw the Xayah earlier this week, on the first day, it was Essence Reaver into Hurricane Infinity Edge, so pretty prototypical build. Still kind of really feeling out how strong Xayah is in the late game. My initial impressions are stronger than I expected based on the kit. Her chasing's not great, but it feels like if other people are doing the setup work, you can do some pretty dirty things in team fights.
Shy. Speaking of dirty things, Umpty's just going to dirty farm this wave. Shy's getting a lot of pressure on him towards the top side. Speaking of pressure, Kuzan has to shield himself up, but that shielded Duran pretty good. He's going to be able to clear this one up pretty nicely underneath the turret. And you mentioned, Xayah, some mixed results. Deft played it, 1-3-0. And then Maha played it, 6-0-5. Had a great performance.
And that was kind of the interesting one, because that was, of course, with no damage on the rest of his team and a Karma mid. So that was Xayah as the only damage dealer.
Hyper carry Xayah.
I didn't know if that was a thing. Again, initial impression was wouldn't have the damage output, but crit scaling on the Blade Caller, her E, and in general, just how much AoE damage she pumps out. If you're coming at Xayah, she is insanely powerful.
Now we've got 4 people on the bottom side here for ROX, trying to grab this first turret blood, but there's enough wave clear with the passive. The clean cut's doing work for Teddy.
And Shy had spent the whole laning phase, 1v2 after that dirty farm, just standing up, not willing to leave lane, uses ult defensively, as you can tell by that being on cooldown. So they didn't surrender that turret.
Yeah, nicely done. Nikki takes a lot of damage from Kuzan, actually full damage from the Q.
You know what, Kuzan? Build an adaptive helm this game. Sounds like a great buy.
I was actually going to bring that one up. I feel like Twin Fang would probably suffer at the hands of the old adaptive helm.
This is the new Rift Herald. It can be soloed with a jungle item in many cases. Didn't see how much health and mana that Grave started on, but you can see on his portrait that he's not losing any health.
Kuzan's so aggressive underneath this turret. Probably Justice Punch Mickey to death at this stage. Shy turns back up, and that is going to be the Rift Herald soloed by Umpty.
Last tour around just before 16 minutes.
Oh, not going to grab the gold? Ixu? Oh, man. Okay. Giving up a bit of that. That bothers me, Papa Smithy.
You sound flustered.
I am flustered. I know it's been a long day. We spent a lot of time talking about weird stuff before this particular match, but that was the clincher.
Adaptive Helm is complete, Atlas.
Oh, okay.
Now he's slightly less
We're back
damaged.
in business.
Yeah. An Adaptive Helm you can feel good about.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say
Essence Reaver done as well.
The one-item power spikes are real. Essence Reaver, Adaptive Helm. No boots.
Nope.
No space for those. Only sick first items.
Don't need those. You've seen Xayah's feet. They're funny. Don't need boots. Can't put boots on those.
Pushing war, predictably, heavily won by Brand and Ashe in the bot lane. They, of course, had some help earlier with Nidalee spending some time bot lane, but again, Rakan's laning phase to speak about.
However, CS, still, there's 2 in it, absolutely nothing. This laning phase working out. I mean, the push certainly in favor of ROX. Jin Air have at least been able to get some money whilst down here.
Diving into Jin Air will be a fool's errand from ROX Tigers. Happily for them, they're pretty happy split pushing. They could definitely go for a 4-1 if they can get some items on cannon. Or kiting back is definitely where a lot of their power is. If they have the control over objectives and wards, they're in a good spot. So if you're diving into Xayah, that's where you really play into what we saw come out of Maha on day 1.
Go on. Looks for the spear, doesn't quite make anything happen onto Umpty. Now, Kuzan has the teleport available, so a Grand Entrance should not lose them too much, as he's also being able to keep this lane shoved in mid.
Jace walking down. Maybe Jin Air will finally look to start up the Ocean Drake. No teleport up on Shy. They also have the Grand Entrance, which is a great space controller. Or maybe they'll just be using this Rift Herald, pushing it into the mid lane. Nidalee here right now.
Coordination. This guy's going to do a big old chunk to that. Arrow's going to land. It actually hits Umti first, but somehow the spear doesn't find the mark. Key's going to be able to do enough damage on the back end. And it's in fact Songwon who's able to pick up that kill in response. There's a petrifying gaze. Ixu still alive though, as in goes Snowflower, dashing around, trying to charm up his enemies as Teddy now throwing out all of that consistent damage. Kuzan, big damage. Answer back 1 for 1.
Maybe they'll be the ones to get the answering Drake. Everyone ignoring it for now. No interest in this Ocean Drake. Pretty close fight. Didn't think the quickening was going to do too much, but it caused enough disarray that Kuzan was able to snipe out with a max range Righteous Gust.
I just want to point out that the quickening is in fact a better name than what it's actually called, which is the quickness.
The quickness. My apologies.
No, don't apologize. The quickening's so good. You need to send an email.
That's true. We got Spray and Pray brought back.
I know. We can do this. We have power. We're not irrelevant. Mother Smithy. 1,000 gold up now against the Tiger. Oh, that's frustrating, isn't it, Mickey? Gets the poison, can't capitalize.
Definitely had his times, and with the Adaptive Helm completed already, he's not going to have too much fun taking down the Gallios. Blade Color hits.
Yeah, Teddy doing so much work here. No arrow just yet. So close to being off cooldown, but they get themselves a flash. That's what they were looking for. And you can see when you get in range of Xayah, she does so much damage.
And the arrow would have only done questionable value because, of course, there's access to the Xayah ultimate to dodge it as well.
That Featherstorm was certainly there, and Teddy would have been hot on that trigger. And Sungyun as well. I mean, it becomes a mind game when you're this Ashe. You need to be catching the Xayah completely off guard. If you're in a duel like that, you know that he is ready. Press that button.
Yeah, the melee range Ashe arrow is the only hope with no cast animation any further, and certainly we'll lose out on it. Still haven't seen any creative recalls from either Snowflower or Teddy, taking advantage of that other Zion Rakan interaction.
Snowflower almost has the quickness back up.
Speaking of almost, a stiff breeze will take down that mid lane turret for Mickey. To be fair though, Kuzan is melee range, so needs some help.
Not gonna need 3 people. There it is. One shotgun. Blast is going to be able to take that one down. Well, theoretically 3 from Umti. And Jinner going to make the second one fall, third one, sorry, fall very, very quickly. Of course, that top lane outer turret fell without Ixu being able to pick up the local gold.
Finally, the Drake at 17 minutes will be attended to. We saw a 4-stack empowered Drake in game 1, what feels like a while ago now with our break. Jinner on top of this one as well.
And the Tigers just losing control of this map slowly but surely. Jinner, 3,000 gold up now. Not being able to take any turrets means that most of that is in the structures. Tigers still being able to do decently well.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see Shy has gone interesting in the item build here. Rushing Frozen Mallet. We do see it on occasion, but it's usually just a severe laning choice unless you just want to go Hurricane Mallet and leave lane, which... Now that you see the parts of Azeel, that may very well be the case, but I imagine that means he's going to heavily be out-dueled by Bay the Ruin King, which is the ready-made answer to a health stack, which is exactly what Frozen Mallet is.
Still, I mean, proof is in the pudding here. Shy doing fantastically well in lane, but now that these items are completed, you're right, Papa Smithy, that Blade of the Ruin King just done now. Could things change? Shy says that he doesn't care because he's on the bottom side of the map, wanting to utilize that added utility on that particular item. Maybe this is going to be the thought process. We saw Shy when he came back to the Tigers. Linderung, like you said, was the predominant top laner, but Shy was so much more able to utilize the rest of his team, as there's the grand entrance, heroic entrance, sorry.
Yeah, just looking to try and keep this turret up. Shy was leaving top lane because the turret was already down. He didn't think he would lose an inner turret in that particular regard, so wanted to guarantee they got their first turret. on the Rift, but not to be. 3 turrets to 0. Still a pretty big hole. That's most of the gold lead here is purely in the turrets.
Yeah.
For Jin Air Green Wings.
Just want to point out that we've got a heroic entrance and a grand entrance. There's a lot of entering in this particular game.
Well, I mean, that means we're going to see a lot of team fighting, so that's good.
I hope so. So far, it hasn't been a massive amount, but a lot of grouping in mid. A lot of things being gathered here by Jin Air. Good use of the Rift Herald as well.
We can't actually tell until Rakan is clicked over if the quest is being complete. It's at level 9, so if he has 10 points in his skills, that will let us know that he has been able to use that quest. He also gets an item in his inventory, but it could have been spent already. We haven't been spending all our time looking at Rakan's inventory.
Yep, that's a good point. I have the Oasis, an item that you barely ever get to talk about, which is very exciting for me. I feel like I'm going to get more points on my exam.
Got some buffs recently, so that's why you do see it.
Yeah.
Some light touches in the support item changes when the quests were introduced.
Yeah, of course. Wouldn't blame you if you didn't look at the support item changes. They weren't nearly as exciting as the other ones. Infinity Edge being cheaper, like, I mean, I spent a lot of time looking at that.
Yeah, but the champions you were thinking of building it on.
Oh,
not broadcast worthy.
My Aatrox is going to look so good with its Infinity Edge, Bubba Smithy.
You're going to build Rage Blade Infinity Edge, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. You best believe. For all of that, like, statistical
nice
synergy.
Rotation coming here. ROX are trying to AFK in mid lane, getting farm on these split pushes, and Jin Air just brute force their way down into bot lane. Didn't have the most coverage, but feeling confident enough when they'd already called in Galio to pick up a turret. And now it's very long lanes for the Tigers to deal with. 4 turrets down, and Drake is like impossible to fight for because you push in a minion wave in bot and mid lane, and you have almost the deepest vision you could ask for to get really easy access to Drake.
Yeah, and Teddy's actually got himself a decent lead now as well. Rapid fire cannon built up just to try and mitigate some of that range issue Xayah does have. Certainly not going to be as much of a problem with that first auto attack now.
I wonder if it would be double Zeal. I feel like Hurricane is still really strong on the Xayah, but...
Does he want to go straight into the Infinity Edge now, though, just to make sure that he's got as much single target damage as possible? Is that where he wants to be taking this?
These are the questions we're going to be lucky enough to find out the answer to. I could understand the logic behind both.
Yeah.
Hurricane certainly does have its own power, and double Zeal is always a great way to go, but Infinity Edge at the price certainly seems like the best way to puncture through what is going to be low armor values on the side of ROX Tigers. Consider that there is no true frontline tank. Bit of health stacking on a cannon doesn't make him a tank, so a couple of Infinity Edge crits, and he's going to be instantly dead.
Well, he's almost instantly dead now without that. There's a lot of damage just from a 1-2 punch from Teddy.
So waiting to see some really fun Rakan fireworks.
Yeah. We saw him utilize that quickness earlier on, and you saw how quickly he darts around the fights with Battle Dance available as well. Still yet to see that big knock-up to change the flow of a team fight as well, though, Papa Smithy.
You can open up from really weird angles when you have the Xayah on the team, though. You can just be very far off-screen, as if you're a Thresh looking for a land, and then enter, flash into the grand entrance, potentially use the quickness. You cover so much ground in long lanes when you're Rakan, and guess what?
We
They're
got long
4
lanes.
turrets up, so if we do actually see a fight in one of these extended lanes, could see some really specific Rakan things that will give us a glimpse into some of the future Rakan games that we'll hopefully get.
Well, right now, we've got Primal Surge available here to make Sungyun a force to be reckoned with when taking down these turrets. It's going to be Teddy that's there to defend, and in fact, he's looking to go home. Snowflower turns up, doesn't take very much damage at all from that spear.
ROX Tigers. You can see Sungwon's trying to build based on Jin Air's reputation with what it's looking like, what, a 25-minute Rod of Ages?
Yeah, that's not exactly the best feeling in the world.
Not the Athene's build that Kuz was looking at.
A lot of people actually popularizing it. Right there.
High Elo solo queue, it's been by far the most popular build.
See Teddy actually looking for his Hex Drinker first, wanting some protection against Mickey and Songwan. Shy as well to a certain extent, and Key.
And like we
a
said,
lot of magic damage on this team.
Galio looks at a minion wave, uses the Winds of War. Jace pushes up a minion wave, and nope, no chance of contesting for Drake. They will only get a notification thanks to that global indicator that was added a couple of years ago, because if there wasn't that, they'd have no idea when the Drake timer was.
Yep. A little bit unfortunate. Next one's going to be another Ocean. Let's Jin take the first Mountain Drake of the game.
Imagine being Cassiopeia looking at this item build from your opposing mid laner.
Hawkshot is going to spot out this cheeky little ruse from Jin.
Cassiopeia has to deal with a Spirit Visage Adaptive Helm.
Oh.
On the Galio.
Not looking like great times. Opti as well. He's got his Imperial Scimitar. As now we'll see whether they can actually do damage to him. They got through the shield. Don't worry, guys. Whoa. Can you believe it? He lost a quarter of his health.
Did he?
Well,
maybe a fifth?
He's regented now.
Maybe a fifth? Yeah. And that was with some physical damage thrown in there.
Oh, very sad. Snowflower, he's a bit squishier. Gonna grand entrance his way out. Zonti throws in a collateral damage, but isn't able to grab the red buff. Someone that gets it. Ooh. Heroic entrance is here. Now Kuzan flashes over, gets himself the taunt. The Justice punches in. Shy has to flash, but does get healed up with that Primal Surge. Kuzan's still in here. Those Winds of War doing so much damage to Quickness. Featherstorm does nothing though. Teddy can't quite get the damage that he wants, but it's already 3 kills on the side of Jin Air. My God, Snowflower was all over that fight.
Yeah, the Flash Quickness set up what looked like an instant triple kill for Teddy. Wasn't quite that, but they got enough members and chunked out enough that this should be Baron. And we waited to see Rakan take over a game. The quest had been cashed in, 12 points into his abilities. And that was some quintessential Rakan play from Snowflower.
Yeah, it looked beautiful. ROX Tigers, they're not even going to try and contest this one. It's Teddy that secures the last hit on the Baron, and now with so many turrets already removed.
So everyone's just distracted by Ixu at the start of this fight, and you think, okay, it's going pretty evenly, but watch this flash into the Quickness for a 4-man charm into a 4-man taunt. And if Teddy had been able to walk forward, if he had his Q off cooldown, could have been an instant triple kill with a couple of crits and his passive being applied. But he still did the deal. He still did enough damage to push them out and get them a free Baron. And Zion Rakan, first time on the Rift in Korea, look like they're going to be coming back with a victory.
Yeah, looks fantastic here by Jin Air. Snowflower has been a player that we've talked up, especially recently. But Teddy was always the star of the show, and it just feels so cool watching Snowflower able to complement it so much more effectively.
I really don't like the 24-minute Rod of Ages that came through from Songwon. With the game being decided now, scaling itemization is not what was needed. We remember BDD going for a very early Hextech GOP on Cassidy and understanding scaling between lanes, and not convinced by the Nidalee. We will see more Nidalee, but this particular Nidalee hasn't inspired confidence like the reputation of other Nidalees, and now the split push is pretty severe. Galio just in the mid lane, no one wants to walk near him. Teddy's pushing in bot lane. Jace is Jace, so...
Shy's taking 1 billion damage. This turret on the top side of the map's looking like it may fall down too. Inner just dealt with, like you said, Kuzan able to take that one down, and Mickey has to come up here. Of course, these minions more difficult to deal with, especially the melee variety. Teddy moves out of the way. This will be first inhibitor turret falling down. There's the grand entrance. Heroic entrance there as well as Kuzan comes in. Whoa! Teddy with the damage! Key was there, I think.
Taking out super fast. Actually went with the more Malmortius to be more of a frontliner. Realizes there's no kiting back this game. They're going for blood. They're going to end the game.
Yeah, well, they're going to take down the first inhibitor easily. Second's going to fall down as well. Winds of War there from Kuzan. It looks like they're playing this one by the book as they're going to shove up this top lane as well. Jin Air Greenwings, just 1 Baron. Spelling what looks like the end for the ROX Tigers. 8 turrets to 0. 2 dragons to 0. 11,000 gold in the lead. Kuzan goes back. He wants to buy some more items. Frozen Hearts there. The last inhibitor turret falls down. Now it feels like only a matter of time. A lot of damage onto Omti. That spear. Teddy gets healed up as well as Key.
Snowflower.
He's going to take a lot of damage. There's the Featherstorm coming down. He just wants to take down Key, but look at this. The real action is happening right in the middle of this fight. In goes Snowflower. He's dashing around the fight, but look at the AoE from the Jin Air Greenwings. That's 3 dead. This should spell the 2-0 Jin Air over the ROX Tigers. And it's been such a success story from the promotion tournament. Jin Air Green Wings, the 2-1 loss against MVP, and now the decisive 2-0 against the ROX Tigers.
Great stuff from Jin Air. It's what they showed. It's what they threatened during that match against MVP. Couldn't quite get it done on the day, but here with new stuff, we had a second round with Zion Rakan locked in, with also the return to the Nidalee jungle. That part didn't work. I feel like ROX Tigers still have not found an identity without Shy and Mighty Bear in as a full topside duo. Shy came in, almost got a solo kill, went behind, we didn't really say his name after that. Mickey, he wasn't even getting to play League of Legends. It's a Galio with Spirit Visage and Adaptive Helm, taking no damage from the Cassiopeia last pick. And Jin Air have a lot to be happy about, and we're seeing relegations Jin Air come through, and that sounds like a negative thing, but they played great in the promotion tournament. They wanted to carry it over into the regular season, and if they can be in and around the middle of the table, that's an acceptable job for the Jin Air Green Wings.
And certainly is something that we're not used to seeing. Jin Air have had struggles over the last few seasons. But damn, if they keep playing like this, if they keep being allowed to play like this, what with the Galio in the mid lane that Kuzan looks so incredibly comfortable on, this could be a Jin Air that could be shaking the feathers of a lot of these teams, to use a pretty nasty pun.
That one was definitely on the nose. Can Jin Air actually be a force in the playoffs? Probably not. That's probably too far away, but an improvement from a 9th place finish to where the ROX Tigers ended up 6th would be acceptable move forward for Jin Air. And it's the sort of roster where I never really thought Jin Air needed roster changes. I like Ixu in his top lane role. He's finding his champion pool more as the meta has gone on. Omti has obvious skills and also can be rolled over. That's something that I feel that can really be helped by the head coach and some of the life coaches in the Jin Air roster. There's a bit of swagger about him. He has some very nice mechanics on his day, but can also fall away. Yeah. Teddy has been an inspired pickup, needs no introduction. And when Kuzan and Snowflower are also pulling their weight, there's a lot of interesting players here without necessarily a true superstar. Teddy's getting to that level. Maybe with a couple more seasons, he'll be a superstar carry in his own right. But Jin Air, for a Jin Air squad, have young talent, have promise, and it's a really good victory for them today over the ROX Tigers.
Yeah, and it feels very similar to what MVP have put together as well. And no true massive star, but they play together very, very well, and they play their own style very, very well. And Jin Air are really starting to find their niche.
And I really hope that's what they're looking for, because Teddy has been a star in a losing team, and I think he would definitely trade that for being an integral cog in a winning team.
Yeah.
In a different team, Beyond could have been a superstar in a different team. Even ADD could have been a superstar. Ian on his Syndra especially.
Oh, yeah.
There were players there that could be superstars, but they're probably superstars in a losing team. It's about these being more than the sum of their parts. And Jin Air want to be that. They don't just want to be a one-note team with a pretty good AD carry and not a lot else to talk about.
Yeah, it's being that cohesive unit, and you can see if you are one of those, you can do a hell of a lot of damage. I don't know how Kuzan does so much work on the Galio, but some of those Winds of War hitting 5 people at once are probably going to notch those numbers up a peg, but Teddy needs no introduction. That Xayah was doing so much work.
But I think the Rakan should be talked about here. It was really cool. Some of that late game team fighting, and Snowflower will win the MVP. 009, a secret agent by a new name, Agent Snowflower on the Rakan. The use of what I called the quickening, but as you say,
I'll keep calling it the quickening, Papa Smithy. Sounds so good.
I mean, the actual ability, though, really came up trumps in this game.
We are going to see some of the highlights as well, and watching him dash around these fights was difficult to follow, to be perfectly honest. It's just because he's so incredibly mobile. This is after losing one. This was that comeback fight in this mid lane.
Zion Rakan not even in the fight, but here comes the quickness just onto the Brand, but it's the disarray he causes, dashing in and out. But by the time things go around, they get a 1-for-1, and that doesn't look consequential, but where the game was, it was actually a big factor. And even in the side lanes, look at the ability to cover ground. It feels like we're learning about Rakan, and it felt like Snowflower and Teddy were testing their limits in the early game, because the consequential fights ended up being a lot later in the picture. We'll see the first one here. Dashing around as only Rakan can do, but watch for the 4-man quickness that honestly probably won them the game.
Yeah, just stunning.
Ridiculous.
The Featherstorm almost able to do its full damage, but the triple flash actually getting the ROX Tigers members out of there was still just easily enough to win them that battle. And the double entrance team comp just feels good.
The entrance was undeniable. Very little counterplay with so many different angles and gap closes available. It's kind of a different use of the Galio ultimate, because usually like, okay, just do it like the Gigabyte Marines did and have 3 assassins and Galio coming in. Instead it's just Rakan can do so much interrupting and dashing that ulting a Rakan usually leads to a multi-man taunt and so much lockdown that someone like a Xayah can easily profit off.
Yeah. And the fact that he was able to get around underneath turrets as well, giving everyone that's tanking some shields. Never mind that, though. Let's go to our MVP interview. Take it away, Joel.
Thank you very much, guys. We're here with Jin Air Green Wings, 2-0 victory over ROX Tiger. They looked very confident and very dominating today, and we're here with today's MVPs, and Snowflower, for the interview. Snowflower, congratulations on the win. Of course, you guys had that loss coming into this game, but you know, getting this series win must have been a good feel for you guys. But how do you feel? Yeah, getting that first loss in the season was a little bit tough for us, but we really needed to bounce back as we did today. I'm glad we were able to do that today. And of course, Snowflower seems to be in agreement with that comment. MT said that he was feeling pretty nervous about the game, but the way he played, he wasn't nervous at all, and you guys probably saw that as well as I did, but he played really well. And it seemed like, you know, picking up the Lee Sin was a crucial thing, because, you know, if you lost another game with Lee Sin, that confidence on that champion shouldn't have been as high. Yeah, I think after losing a game with the Lee Sin, I just practiced extra harder that I'm never going to lose with that champion again, and that kind of motivation really helped me out my way. And is there a specific tip for all those Lee Sin players, all those Lee Sin one-tricks out there that wants to, you know, get a good advice from you? I think Lee Sin is mostly instinctual more than anything. I can't really explain in words of what you're supposed to do with Lee Sin, but you have to kind of feel it, and you have to really know what you do have to do at each moment, and that's kind of the thing with Lee Sin. And we do have a video highlight of what he's trying to say. Another instinctual play explained by MT. So that was a situation where you can't really predict that beforehand, but you know that in that direction where the Sejuani is coming, you can just flash that away and kick him in the other way, and that's kind of the way you're supposed to do that. And first game, of course it was a win for you guys, but bot lane must have been furious. You guys never got a gank. He was just camping top lane the whole time. Yeah, I think Umti's too much of a good friends with Iksu, and I'm kind of feeling sad, but maybe I should be a little nicer to him. Maybe he can come to bot lane to gank a little more. I think that was kind of my fault. What was the situation between that? And we were initially going to gank top lane and put a little bit of vision on the bot lane, but there were so many opportunities that we could have just camped top lane, and I think that's kind of how it naturally turned out. And what was the comments between the bot lane duo? Yeah, I think you know, since we didn't deserve the bot lane gank, I think we should really serve Umti in a nicer way so we can get ganks next time. And it seemed like, you know, a lot of the plays that you guys showed today showed a lot of prowess in how it worked out. Yeah, I think we, you know, kind of how our teammates kind of came into the game today. We were really motivated to win, and you know, we just try to get a positive attitude going throughout the game. I think that's kind of what they're talking about here, the fist bump. And second game is a very interesting one that we have to talk about. And Xayah Rakan was probably the last thing that people expected. Yeah, I had 10 seconds left. That's all I had to say. Yeah, I had nothing else to pick.
No other supports available. Just had to lock in the Rakan. Feels bad, man.
Yeah, I mean, I just saw Xayah come out, and you know, like I said, I only had 10 seconds left, and you know, there were a limited support pool that I had to choose from, and Teddy mentioned that he wanted to play with the Rakan, so it was kind of out of my decision to pick a Rakan.
Braum was still up, but he played.
And did you have many practices with that duo? Of course we have many practices, but didn't know we were going to pick it out this time around. What is the positive strength of Rakan, as you can explain it? I try to just prepare to see what Rakan does well, and I think it really gears towards the team fights more than anything. And so we saw in the highlights near the end. I think we do have another video highlight. We can show that again. We can see it this again and again. Did you kind of see this coming? The 4-man charm. Yeah, all of them were just gathered here. I had a good distance with the flash that I can go in with, and I ulted in right away. And it turned out to be a wonderful play. And that was probably the clincher for the game, honestly. Yeah, I think as soon as we got the Baron off of that, I think we kind of confirmed our win. I think our head coach is ready to buy us some nice food, so I'm very excited about that. And what we have to say about, you know, the thing with Rakan having all this weak laning phase is about Umpty, when you do your streams online, a lot of the viewers who see you as a very intellectual player who has a lot of ideas behind the game. Yeah, I think, you know, we try as gamers, you know, when we're not playing games, we would just constantly think about the game and try to think of more creative, you know, pathways to different things we can do about the game. And I think just constantly thinking about the game really does help with the actual games themselves. And we do have a new coach for the junior squad. How was that like? Is there any new changes with the new coach that has arrived? I think he is a little bit stylistically different to the old coach, but I think, you know, personally I'm having a good time, and you know, I think he does a really good job for our team. I think I got a mom. I think that's kind of what my coach is. He's like a big mama to me. Of course, you guys got the good result that you guys really wanted, and getting that first win series of the season. Would you like to say something? Yeah, I saw that, you know, Cuz got the solo MVP last time around. I want to get my opportunity to get the solo MVP next time around. If we really make Worlds, by any chance, we get to ride a business class flight to wherever we're going, so I'm really excited for that. I hope that happens. So that seems to be the end of the interview. Hoping these guys' streams comes true, and back over to you guys.
Thank you very much, Joel. And I believe the Glad plane is being piloted by Snowflower tonight, Papa Smithy.
I mean, it seems like it's a team-wide Glad plane. A lot to be happy here if you're the Jin Air Green Wings. Played well, drafted innovatively, showed new strategies. It may be a one-off, as Snowflower was saying, or may actually be a core strategy. Getting a Rakan or Xayah